Hello, everyone. I am here to walk you through how I plan to use my Hemlock and Oak 2026 Daily Duo. So, this is my Daily Duo. It is part one of two. It only says 2026 on the spine. And then it says January to June at the bottom here. And then the July to December one, it says that on the second one. So, first off, I got the hardcover. I decided to go with hardcover. We'll see how the spine holds up because this is my first time ever using Hemlock and Oak. So we'll see. I tend to like add in stickers and pictures and who knows what else. And so sometimes, most times, my planner does tend to expand, like most do. So we'll see how the spine holds up. I've seen different reviews and it seems to hold up fairly well. So we will see. And because it's only 6 months, I'm hoping that it won't be. I feel like if I had gotten the whole year book in one, it would have been like super thick, and I already find it pretty awkward to hold or to write when the pages, like when you have the book open and you have, one side is higher than the other, you have to like prop your arm up and stuff. So I already find that to be a challenge, and so it's always great to break it out, I guess, so that it's not so mountainous, if you will. But okay, so Hemlock and Oak, first time using it, quality looks great. The packaging, it came really well packaged in the box. It was nice and secure. It was, each book had its own little kind of like cellophane, not even cellophane, I don't know what it's called. It's like, it was all packaged in one of these little tissue type containers, bags, which I thought was great. So how I'm planning to plan, I'm not going to go through back and forth with my old planner just because it gets kind of messy shifting things around. And I'll just kind of talk through this. And I just wanted to preface it too with that really like just being on this like diving deeper into the planning journey or planner journey over the last 9 months. I feel it's very easy to kind of get side sucked into, different planner inspirations, whether it's Pinterest or YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And I think those are all great. I think it's always great to see what other people are doing because it does add a level of inspiration for yourself. And so I think when you think about what journal do I want to use, how do I want to do this going into the next year, if you are one of those people that switch halfway through the year, I think it's really just about figuring like what works for you and what doesn't, and finding the journal and reading lots of reviews on journals to kind of figure out like what it's a 80-20 rule, like what meets 80% of what you're looking for, and you can kind of like mold the other 20% how you may. And the other thing I would say is like outgrow your tools. When I started, I don't have it handy here next to me. Well, I have a sample. This one is a chonker. So this is our adventure book for 2025. But this is the book I started off of, not this one specifically, but the Artist Loft Premium Dotted Journal. It looks like this on the inside. It's bright white, 120 GSM, I believe, dotted grid, and has numbered pages, but they are all blank. There's no dates, there's no templates, nothing. And so this is what I started with, and it's sort of like a hardcover almost, but not quite. And over time, I was creating all my layouts and drawing out my monthly calendars, and I just got tired of it. It was just became fairly inefficient, and I just wanted to get into it versus spending all the time building it and then just petering out on energy for building it or for like filling it out. So outgrow your tools, invest in yourself slowly over time, or you can invest if you're one of those people that wants to dive right into like a really expensive planner, then go for it if that's kind of what you know that you're going to settle on. But start small and kind of outgrow your tools and try new things. And then yeah, definitely look for inspiration, not emulation. I mean, we all emulate, I think, when we're starting out, especially when we're trying to figure out like who we are and what we want to do and what's our style. But don't get stuck in aesthetic perfection. So, and the most important is to have fun with it. So, anyways, now I've talked a lot. There's nothing going on here. But basically, if I go through here, you can see this is the Hemlock and Oak. So I did put in the 2026 decal. The Daily Duo is nice because it doesn't have some of the fluff at the beginning of the planners. I don't know which ones specifically have all that, not fluff, but I call it fluff, but it's all the, like your goals and just a bunch of like reflection questions and stuff. And I just felt like where I'm at now for my planning and journal usage. I don't really need that myself because I do it in other areas. So when we flip through here, so when we get to this page here, this is the monthly, I don't know, the yearly kind of like overview. Most people, I think, tend to use this as a birthday or important dates tracker. I intend to use it as a curriculum tracker. What I mean by that is just really any sort of learning or reading or anything that I do, I'm going to kind of log it in here. So in January, like, well, what a book that I completed, or maybe I'm watching a Coursera course and doing some of that learning, I'll kind of document and capture it in here. I don't really know what I'll do with the dates. Maybe I'll highlight them in terms of like when and where I completed them. I'm not too sure. It's sort of like a let's go with the flow sort of layout in this sense here. The quarterly pages, what I did was, so the quarterly pages was Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 in here. I did print out Hemlock and Oak are great because they offer digital printouts. So you can print out your own pages if you want to, maybe you're one that wants to print all the pages out and put it into a ring binder, 3-ring binder. You can do that as well. I still prefer a book format. But I recognize that, I wanted to use the quarterly page to do my habit tracking. And then I still wanted to capture birthdays, but I didn't want to use this page for birthdays because I don't love myself aesthetically, like highlighting the number and then writing the number out and writing like the event or the date or whatnot. I just, for myself, like visually, it's chaotic for me. So I wanted something like this. So I did my Q1 birthdays, Q2 this way. So I just taped or glued these two pages together, and then I tipped it into the page here. So this is my habit tracker, and originally, excuse me, I actually wanted each one of these columns to be a habit, and I had like 10 habits. And then because these tiny icons, as tiny as they are, still are slightly too big for to fit kind of side by side, I had to whittle down to just my top 6. And realistically, I mean, who can actually like manage more than like really 3 habits in one go? But anyways, I'm an ambitious person, and I will continue with building these habits out because it is a constant work in progress, let me tell you. And then if we flip over here to the next page, then we get into the main page. So in the Hemlock and Oak, what's different? So I was using a Rosey Life Planner before, and I had each month for the daily pages, there was sort of like a blank page. So that would be like where I would create my title page. And I'll just pull it over maybe just to show you so you understand or can see what I'm talking about. So let's say this isn't the best cover page, but this is the blank page that I would have in the old planner, and then it goes into the daily pages. With this one here, I only have this one, and you can see in the next month, it just goes right into all the daily pages, then the month, and then the daily pages. So I do like that layout where it's the month and then the daily pages, because just kind of follows that flow. When I had the undated planner and I was building it all out myself, that's sort of the layout that I liked. And I think that's why I didn't go with a planner for a long time, because I didn't think there were planners that had templates built in that followed that same not pattern, but aesthetic that I liked. But so now I only have one, but I figured the loss in having the cover page isn't a big deal, because if I did want to create a cover page, I could easily just create one separately and then just tip it in if I wanted to. But what I plan on doing with this is, because I only have this one page, my plan is to actually make this into a goals page. So really kind of, or not even like goals, it's more like it's like that wheel of life where you like look at all different areas of your life and kind of where it's at and kind of what are your respective goals within each of those. So that's kind of my plan around here. So be on the lookout for what that may look like in the future once I kind of figure that out. Then the next thing is the monthly layout. So the monthly layouts, I decided that I don't typically, so what I was finding here is in the monthly layouts, they were great, like I captured, like I was able to make them all pretty, and I captured like all my activities and events and appointments and stuff. But then I'd also captured in my weeklies, and then I would also document it into my iCal app, and that's the tool that I live by in terms of like what I have going on in my life. This is more just kind of like log it all. And so I decided, I don't want to do that. I don't want to duplicate my efforts across the board. And so it's just easier to just like you lean on the iCal app that I have. I'll put in activities and events and stuff as I need to on the daily pages under the schedule. And then the monthly layout or the monthly spread, my plan is to actually just put in like, maybe there's a quote that stood out to me through an app or through Pinterest or, wherever. I'll write that in there. Or maybe I do what's called art of noticing. So it's just sort of noticing different things in your life that, bring you joy or awe or wonder or whatnot. And maybe I'll just like snap a picture and then I'll print it off at the end of the month, all the ones that I have for the days that I did do it for, and put it in here. Or my other thing was to maybe put a selfie photo in here or something about my day in here. So this really will just be kind of like a let's feel things out for 2026 and see how this goes, because I'm not going to be logging in all my activities in here. But I still like to make it all pretty and stuff. So the Coffee Monsters Co. always has super cute stickers. And I really love their 2026 washi strips this year, because it is a bit more, it's not as the lines aren't as like harsh, which I do like the dark lines, don't get me wrong, but I like that it's more subtle. And then for the daily pages, so if we look at the daily pages on my Rosey Life Planner here, it's literally just like the day and then it's a blank space. What's different now for me going into Hemlock and Oak is that now the schedule is in the page. So before, these schedules be a weekly layout, and then the rest would be daily pages to be the daily page, and now I have both in one page. So I actually didn't mind this, because I actually prefer to be able to see like what I've got going on in the day, and then document any thoughts and stuff that come up through the day. How I use my daily pages, I don't like to write down sort of what's going, like I don't write good morning, like today I'm doing this and doing that and I did this, like that's just not my style of using my daily pages. I typically, if I have something happened or maybe an event happened and I some I had thoughts about thoughts or something like that, then I'll kind of like document in here. Or maybe I'm like driving and like something comes up, I'm like, oh, I better like want to journal about that, then I'll like journal in here, and that's what I'll do with it. The other thing I want to do with my daily pages is I want to incorporate more art pages into it. So sometimes sometimes life gets busy. I don't have things I want to write or can think about writing or whatnot. And so sometimes the pages look like, let me see if like this, maybe. Right. And I'll just like, I have nothing, I'm not caught up or life is busy. I might slap a photo in there, or I might just leave it completely blank and just write in one snippy, snarky, something, sassy something, and call it a day. I can't find one right now. But I want to incorporate more art. So let's say even like a cover page, right? Like this is more like, I get to some creative play, and I'd like to do that again in my journal a bit more. So if I don't have anything to write, maybe I could leverage it and use it for creative play, which I think would be really nice. And the one thing I love and why I moved back to a planner that had heavier pages was because I really love incorporating creative play into my journal, into my planners, because I want it to be a little bit of everything, because I don't use it as like a rundown of just my what I've done that day. Like I won't write down I watered plants. I won't, say that I've gone grocery shopping, because those are just day-to-day things. And I find when I try to mark all those tasks down, which I have done in the past, it bogs me down and also creates a barrier for me to actually do this. So 2026 is all about like, how can we like make this easy so that there's less barriers and I can just come in here, do my thing, and then be happy with it. And then at the very back of it, there are 2 pages for mid-year notes. I'll likely use this for mid-year notes. I'll probably look at my Wheel of Life goals kind of page, and then reflect on that and kind of see what gaps there are, what to do moving forward, where I need to pivot, that sort of thing for the next half of the year. And then there's a little pocket that I added on that you can add on when you order your Hemlock and Oaks. And I just added the little freebie printout from Coffee Monsters Co. because then it matches the front and the back. And my plan is to actually add in my word of the year. So my word of the year this year for 2026 is discipline. And so I'm in the process of defining that out via the dictionary, and then via my own meaning of, what discipline means to me. And then hopefully this will kind of tie in more of like a vision board, kind of tied to the Wheel of Life page, in terms of like, what are the areas of my life, that I'm looking to improve on, or that I want to focus on, and kind of how does discipline tie into that. So that's sort of my process of thinking in terms of how I'm going to do that. The other thing I wanted to note is, and maybe I'll bring over my other planner here, is that I tend to be fairly sticker heavy. Well, actually, I'm not that sticker heavy. Like I am and I'm not. Like I use it fairly sparingly, mostly to fill space, to be honest. Or mostly to like in my weeklies and monthlies, I'll use stickers because I like how it fills up a little bit of space and adds a little bit of like visual elements to it. But I'm going to try to move more towards less stickers and maybe using more stamps and artwork so that my pages don't get as, like my book doesn't get as fluffy. Like this, you can see is 6 months of 2025 and it got pretty fluffy. The spine on this book held pretty well. So that's my goal there. And also to use my supplies. Like I've, in the last however many months, I've acquired, quite a bit of stickers. The price for each sticker sheet is fairly low, so the barrier to entry is fairly low, but when you add up all the supplies over time, it actually gets to be, can be pricey, and it does get to be a lot of things on your desk or in your binder, whatever, however you sort them out. So my plan is to like A, keep an inventory of like what I do have, and B, use them, because I really don't want to hoard them. As pretty as everything is and as pristine as I want to keep them all, my intention was to use them, so I need to use them. So if you have any tips on washies and using up, the rolls of washies are all so big always. I think they're all minimum, like, and I'll just show just a sample of my TCMC ones because it's handy. They're all at least like 10 feet, which is fantastic. And there's certain rolls that I will use probably all 10 feet over the course of time, like this in progress one, let's say. But ones that are a little more decorative in nature, that are more specific in terms of theme, will probably be less used, right? Like things like this one, I think this is Helen's sketchbook, will be used quite frequently and easily because it's a black and white, which is easily blendable. And it's fairly like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just generic, I don't know. So whereas one's more like, this Van Gogh one will be more like if I use like a blue themed, do a blue theme, or if I don't know, am deciding to do like a Van Gogh art piece or something, I have no idea. It'll just take less time. So if you have tips on that, let me know. I would appreciate it. And then the other thing is to letting go of aesthetic perfection. So I watch a lot of planner videos to just kind of see like what everyone else is doing and how they're doing it, because sometimes it's nice to kind of get ideas on like how you want to do things and then slowly build out your, how you want to do things. So let me find an aesthetically perfect, in my eyes, layout or page here, so you can see what I mean. I think I have one in here somewhere. I don't know. Let's say like something like this. This isn't aesthetically perfect by any means, but this is a layout that I did before I actually came in and like filled it. And while it's great, it's nice to like have the boxes, it's nice to have the layouts everywhere, and it is, it looks cohesive. What's hard for me is when I come into a page and it's already bound for me. There's already boundaries, and so it's less free flowing in terms of thought and process. And I much prefer to come in with a blank page and just fill it. So like, I don't know, there's other pages here. So like this, like letting go of like having to have, the layouts and stuff. Like my intention really is just to like use this as a thought journal in terms of the daily pages. So just free flowing. And if I end up while I'm in the process of like journaling that I, create a few different, boundaries or boxes or designs, then I can do that. But otherwise, trying to free myself a little bit from this, because it does, the need for perfection just kind of like hinders my efficiency and hinders my creativity and my productivity, because it's just like, oh, how do I start? How do I want to do this? And I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to come in here, lay my thoughts down, put some stickers down if I want to, and then be happy with it. And then the daily pages too, because the daily pages, so if you look here, this is the size of one daily page, almost the size of the Hemlock and Oak one. And now I have a lot smaller space to do it because I am still leveraging this as my daily schedule. It'll just mean that I have to be more intentional in terms of how I use the space and what I write with it, that sort of thing. But that being said, there's no reason I can't, write on a loose piece of a piece of paper, let's say, or a piece of paper, and tip it in also if I have so many thoughts that day, because some days are thought heavy. And so that's okay too. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, this is kind of how I plan to start. Like, I've already started filling it in a little bit. I mean, I still have some of the heavy work to do in terms of, getting the wheel of life and my goals and stuff, but that's what this next like day or two is for. But anyways, I hope you found this to be at least a little bit informative, and that you are able to take a little bit of what I'm doing and maybe incorporate into what you're doing, and try it out and see if it works for you. And if you do are using a Hemlock and Oak planner, please comment and let me know, because I'd love to check out what you're doing too and stuff, and follow you and share ideas, that sort of thing. So anywho, thank you so much for being here, and I hopefully this was a great, and that you had a great day or will have a great day, and we will chat soon. Thanks so much. Bye.